All right, guys. I hope you guys hear me. We got a lot to talk about. I didn't think it would be this in depth. I just wrote these notes down. I was outlining it for you, but we got a lot to talk about. I want to go over what happened today with China, everything, summarizing from December till now with the trade talks, what happened, what to look for, some of the scenarios and their likelihood, and even what to watch and even some plays. So we're going to go all over this. I hope you guys are ready, so make sure you stick around. Drop some comments. As always, I would love for your guys' feedback. And if you missed it, oh, man, I got to hold on. All right, I was going to say, if you missed it, we live streamed today. We are no longer doing it on this channel, guys. We're separating it to make it easier so we could get you this news. Let me do all that work for you, but just come here, make sure you're subscribed. Oh, wait, I'm already logged in on this channel. But there'll be a little subscribe and a bell button to make sure you guys don't miss it. So there's that. We have the stock trading course below if you guys aren't familiar, but I want to get straight to this. So today, Lighthizer, he commented and that pretty much that the China talks were not looking good. Then Trump said he is not going to meet with Xi Jinping. So we thought it was rumors and it confirmed. And this is one thing to watch for because it seems like this whole thing is all coming back. And I'm talking, the title here, these trade talks could crash the market because Lighthizer's comments today highlighted something. We were talking on stream. The fact it finally brought it down. We've been in, if you go look at the other videos I've made, we've been in this little melt up mode. The markets hasn't been reacting. VIX was literally at 50. The VIX was getting crushed. Volatility wasn't there. So this wasn't necessarily a pickup in volatility, given that, it just went straight down. However, this is very important to watch because these comments now are showing, especially after a positive, what I think was a very generally positive State of the Union, you didn't see the markets go up from there. This brought the market down. It's showing that the market and the pricing of this is actually indeed in effect. We were seeing a few weeks before the Fed would speak, this and that. Sometimes the news wouldn't move it, but now the algos are starting to respond to it. We're near technical levels between that 268.50 and then some of those 270 spots that people have been talking about. It's very, very interesting. So I think we really need to talk about this. And I want to make sure people, what today's point shows is that the developments from January and before that till today, it's starting to come up. We're going to talk about it because the deadline is 3 weeks away for these deals to be here, So Lighthizer's comments, he showed the markets are having a huge pricing effect on trade. This could be an opportunity as it's showing us that now the market is severely underpriced or overestimated the confidence in getting the deal done. And that's what I'm going to talk about through the rest of this video to explain some of the possible scenarios and what's going to go on and understanding this because it's going to get unique. And I think this response with the market, we've kind of are looking, we kind of got an ear to the Fed as well too. This is going to play out and I think it's going to be something even similar to the government shutdown. So there's that. But the biggest thing I want you guys, and I'm going to give it to you right now, the biggest thing you guys could learn from today and what today showed is that this is important and this type of news is important because it moved the currency. And there's two levels of what I mean by that. So here is the British pound. So I think we might have to go back a little bit. But today, essentially, the British pound moved off of some news. This isn't related to China. So you guys are like, wait, what are you talking about? But here's China. This is even today. And this is the exact point I want to highlight. There's two things going on. I wish I could add it. I need to get the 2-day chart on Thinkorswim. I could do the 5-day, 5-minute. But this is kind of what we are seeing play out. This is what happened. The Lighthizer comments came out today and it shot up the Chinese currency. Now look, that means it's important because as it shot up, the yen dropped, the stock market dropped, but most importantly, this comes up, it's weakening the currency. And then look at here. This is what I mean by whether it stabilizes as well. Because, news could be said, blah, 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 they could jawbone, whatever. But when you start to see, even with Brexit, when you start to see global currencies move, these have more profound effects. This has more effects of what it's saying. This is government currency. There's more implications to inflation and all that and trade. So that is very, very important. So seeing that, it's showing that the Lighthizer comments, even though it's saying, oh, we're going to be at a meeting, Trump's not going to be here, the market did not react well. And again, the fact that big changes were occurring is showing that the market is trying to adjust and find that price level. So it could have overreacted today, it could have underreacted, but we'll see. And a lot of people kind of with this melt up, some people are expecting it has to go down. Even though I'm saying all this, be cautious to curb your expectations. So lastly, Chinese New Year, it ends Friday. So after tomorrow, that's the last day Shanghai is going to be closed, but it's going to open. But now looking towards like the Nikkei and other Asian stocks, and even stuff like today, the DAX and Italy, Germany, all that, they got crushed. But now we're going to see the Nikkei fall, Japan and all that. So be on the lookout now, because either China is going to catch up and kind of meet up with what these other stocks have done over this last week, or it kind of might open at its own thing and do its own thing and kind of set this whole new pace for all the stocks and everything else. So I'm really watching that. Now, as far as things escalating, this is one thing I think goes hand in hand, is the Huawei investigation. You know, it's still going on. And yesterday, the US, they're literally formalizing it. And I don't think it's getting as much attention. You know, even when Huawei cut their estimates, I made a video on that. I don't think people really recognized it. It seems like a lot of this stuff hasn't been getting reacted to. And that's why I'm making this video, because even in the midst of the melt up, I want to make sure we are all aware of what news is related to all this. And we've seen how the market reacted through China talks. And I want to make sure we see the Huawei investigation, see how the tensions with America are building. They made concessions towards Europe today about hacking and intellectual property, believe it or not. But the problem here is that people are forgetting. I don't want it to turn into this job owning thing we've seen since December, where it's been this, one says this, one says that. There's been rumors coming out, and it's like they've been doing it to keep it at these technical levels. I think it really has been to confuse the markets, and that's what I'm saying, over the last few weeks, we kind of adjusted, okay, talks here, talks there. The market didn't do anything. Literally, you've not seen this yet. So when you see this, I was saying, and I brought it up on the stream, make sure you could check it on the other channel. It's starting to look like this, with February 18, and we'll see if that is the first, drop. We will find out here soon. But this was a massive drop, and I don't know. I've made these crash videos before. I've gotten a lot of flack for it, but I said it. I said that we will see. Please, someone comment below and tag the video or correct me. Please call me out. But I said we will see one of the biggest rallies we ever. And this was the biggest rally since 1987. I said you guys will look at me and say I'm dumb and that the market isn't crashing. But again, it's all the timeline. Now, I was wrong on January. I overestimated January and got crushed, But this is where setting up the opportunity and seeing. But now this is related to the macroeconomics here and what we see going on. So that's what I'm looking at. But the Huawei investigation, how that has escalated, the news and all that, I'm watching that because I don't want to get caught up in the middle. And this is what I'm saying for you guys. Watch the key, not only developments, but that's what I'm saying. Watch the currencies, watch the things that matter, because it is a game of job owning and news, but you got to look more towards the fundamental and macro here. And it's easy. You guys saw what happened in December and January. Don't get caught up in the cycle of this and that. It's easy to get confused. And I think that's the game plan. And that's what makes the market so difficult. But what we're looking for now to see, okay, how do we, play, what do we make our playoff, or what is going to be the catalyst to say, this news will cause the market to go up or down? It's the result. It is what happens here in March and how it goes on. It's Trump administration, are they going to cave or not? Meaning, are we going to get a trade deal? And I think the decision to what happens in March, in 3 weeks from now, is going to be the deciding factor of the markets, at least for a temporary portion. I think until maybe we get in the next earnings, until the Fed speaks, or if it is that bad, it could lead to the next policy issue, and that could be speeding up the timeline, and I won't even get into that, but this is important. But I'm going to go over some of the likelihoods as well. But the Chinese Bloomberg sources are saying now why this is becoming an issue. You can see on Bloomberg, and we're going to talk about this on stream. I'm kind of giving you the summary, but there's sources coming out now, and I have people in China as well. They're thinking that the U.S. is going to cave now. They're thinking that the U.S. is going to give them whatever they want, and at the same time, look at the view from our side. We think, oh, China's going to have to do it. China's collapsing. Trump, he's really set on it. And we don't know what they want. We don't know what anybody is. And this is where there's a lot of uncertainty. And I think that is the risk of the pricing in on the market. So there's 3 weeks to the deadline. There's no draft agreements. We've only heard, oh, they're not going to meet. They're going to meet. It's going good. It's going that. But you telling me you're going to meet. The deadline is 3 weeks. There's no agreements drafted. There's no points that we've agreed upon, disagreed upon. We don't know what side is that. So it looks like not much is done besides this job owning back and forth, which I've talked about. So here are the scenarios. One, they kick the can. And I think this is the most likely scenario, because if they don't do a trade deal, that could have a negative impact on markets. And even the CEO of Blackstone warned about that. And he's been, and Trump has a lot of people in his ear right now talking about that. However, I think, you know, that would cause a big, if there's no deal, it's going to be a big issue. And if it goes through with extending the tariffs, that is going to just escalate until Trump meets with Xi Jinping in June. But I think they're going to kick the can just like they did in a way with it's going to kick the can as we've seen with Brexit. I think that's the best way to describe it. Brexit had so many deadlines and this and that. And the first time Brexit went through in June 2016, big market reaction, and we might see that. But then after that, every deadline was just, it wasn't a hard deadline. Even the hard deadlines, they found a way to shift it, even with the government. You know, they're good at this. Yeah, that's the best. That's politics. And they'll kick it until the markets finally say no. As long as the market is willing to tolerate kicking the can, and how do you know if the market isn't? They'll sell off. Literally, they'll say, no, this is bullshit. So we're not seeing that yet because any other situation, the markets have bought into it. So I think this is the most likely scenario where they're going to find some way to reschedule or extend the deadlines or something of this nature where they're going to say this, that, you know, we have positive talks. We've been sitting down. We're making moves towards it. And we're going to do this. And that would be a win for Trump because he gets to still say, yeah, we're going after this, blah, 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 blah. And for China, it's the same typical China game. They're going to, you know, they know what they're doing, but they're going to just kick it off and, you know, and they're going to feed us along the way and strengthen. They've done it for decades, so it's nothing new. The next thing I think is going to be, this is the next likely, but not as likely as number one, they're going to kick the can and do a dumb deal. And what I mean by that is they're going to delay and find a way to extend it, but they're going to give a deal. It's what I mean by a dumb deal, it's going to be a dummy deal. It's just going to be a, you know, a token deal to say, hey, it's a slight concession in the form of a deal to justify delaying, but it's not going to get all the demands, and it's going to be very different. Or again, and what could be even more or less likely, just a straight dumb deal where they say, hey, they're going to tote it as, hey, we got a deal. There's no extensions, but it's going to be a completely different deal. Like, sorry, we got this purchase, this, or they're going to pretty much try to highlight what could happen. And if that happened, the markets could either take that well, or if the market picks it apart, it could be one of those bounce scenarios and then sell off like we've seen in some of the rate hikes. Or lastly, and I don't know what would happen with the market with this, but a full cave, because it would mean no tariffs, and I think the market would take it good. It's just kind of like the government shutdown. And that's what I'm saying. Think government shutdown. He gives in. You know, he fully goes, we're hard, just like the wall, but then he gives in, finds a way to delay it, and that's it. Or he's going to come up with some reason not to press the issue and drop it and, you know, let the economy do its thing, and everything would go back to normal. And honestly, you saw the negative. It makes sense why they would want to do that. But hopefully, from looking at the government shutdown to a lot of these deals, this is why I think this is important for you guys. Whether, okay, who cares if the market's going to crash or not, but you guys have something to learn here. All throughout all of these specific instances, you're seeing how politics is conducted, and then how it's relating to finance and in the financial markets here. So you've seen how they've been able to skillfully maneuver all these delays, this and that. So that's kind of where we're at and what we're looking for. So that's pretty much it. What you guys really need to watch is currency developments. If you start to see certain news, like again, this is happening right now, I'm sure futures, you know, this is as I'm making this video, it's like what, 6 o'clock? And then oil, I talked about that, but you know, you see S&P futures are dropping. That's with the currency. So pretty much what I'm saying, the little moves, sure, but the bigger the currency move, the more stronger of a signal that is something's going on. So really with China and all that stuff. So trade talk rumors are the next thing to watch for, as Mnuchin and all that. They've been driving the market. So it's paying attention to what phrases, what keywords, what key topics, and who's saying it, and is the market reacting, is the market not reacting, and going from there to see how this is developing, or getting even hints at what of these scenarios we could predict or pick up on. Next thing is watch volatility. I talked about it today. We're going to talk about this on stream. We're very going to be monitoring this, but as volatility picks up and down, that is also indicating, you know, puts, calls, and other, you know, actions in the market, and where the market is pricing in and expecting things. And, you know, we could talk about dollars and you know, VIX futures and net spec and all that, but well, you know, I don't want to get too deep on that, but watching just the VIX in general and some basic volatility could tell you a lot. Next, I brought this up yesterday, watch oil, but also watch oil and Brexit and see if oil starts to take more weight. If something starts to drag on the market where, you know, we start to see a move like today, but it wasn't a Lighthizer comment and it was oil, and we want to know the impact. Or even worse, if oil starts to dump and we see the market hold up and only move with the Jappy, China, or any other news, it's going to be clear what's being priced in. But time in your trend is going to tell us a lot. So last thing, possible hints through the bond market with Japan and the US. I've talked about that before. Give me a comment if you want me to make that. I don't want to get too boring on you guys. You don't like it when I do that. But lastly, here are some plays. I talked about IWM. If you go watch my video, I made it a week ago. I said how I'm going to make $250,000 if the stock market crashes. Those IWMs went up today. Now, be careful because index puts, be cautious. Go watch that video. If you haven't, just search the Trading Fraternity 250,000 and you'll find it. But I talk about when to play index, when to not, but go after specific companies. That's why I have them here in China. But those IWM puts, they're not too expensive, but they're definitely not too cheap because they're at the same price, or they're about, I think, 20% higher than what I paid, or less. But the difference is there's about a week less time on that. So understand how that's valuing. But come on stream. I'm going to be talking plays. And as I'm watching this and these develop, I will be, I'm going to be ready to make my moves on these. I hope. So we'll see. But also, I've learned from the past, and hopefully you guys did too. So I am hesitant, and I'm using the premium selling to my advantage. And if you've been watching that, you've been seeing. And then lastly, play the Chinese companies. That's what I'm not play them, but look for an opportunity in the option chain. These are what I'm going to be sniping tomorrow because they've been up a lot. They had these big run-ups. They're not getting as affected, and these are the individual companies. BABA took a huge hit, so instead of going after the index puts, you could go after these individual names. If the premium's not high, we could get a pretty nice move and could be pretty good. So I'll leave it there. Hopefully this helps. Let me know what you guys think. What of those scenarios do you think is going to happen? What do you think is most likely? And yeah, don't forget to subscribe to the new channel, guys. I better see you there. We're going to be on at 6 a.m. We're going to have all the streams on here. So hopefully you see, look how much easier it is. So you don't have to go through my channel anymore. You're going to just find 6 hours day after day, every single day to document. That's why I'm excited for this. But you can also come to the main channel to get the news and other stuff. And, it's going to allow me to do a little bit more work for you guys, which I'm excited about. So come to the stream, contribute back, give back. I love you. Let's get ready. I'm excited. All right, let's go. Love you guys. Peace out. Show me some love.